duty calls, the LAPD responds.
Let's be careful out there.
Working as a team to protect and to serve.
Whoever's got a gun, leave us alone! Why don't you just let her go? We have a critical missing.
I lost my puppy.
To fight crime and to keep our streets safe.
Call from the Amber Alert.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Athletes Inside the LAPD. I'm here at the LAPD firearms range. Every now and then you're going to hear some shots going off behind me, and that's exactly what it is. By law, police officers are the only ones who are allowed to use deadly force, and they're allowed to use that force to protect themselves and the public that they serve. In order to be extremely accurate, officers train a great deal with their firearms. There's a real history with firearms in the LAPD, and in fact, many officers compete throughout the year with their firearms. Today, you're going to meet some of those officers and see exactly how accurate they are.
Supporting Chief Vollmer's principles on education, Heath established a 3-month police training school. In 1925, as gangsters such as John Dillinger were terrorizing the nation, LAPD foresaw the need for improved marksmanship skills. With no formal training in existence, Chief Heath lobbied for a pistol range. When City Hall refused to cooperate, officers raised the money themselves and built a range in Elysian Park, which is still in use today.
Well, R.Lee Heath was the first one to realize the need of having a uniform arm for the police. When I came on, some of them had all heads, some of them had 22s, some of them had guns that had been laying around for years that wouldn't even fire. So at that time, give out the rules that the captains would see that everybody qualified every month. Well, of course, that was a poor choice, but the captains were the worst offenders.
During opening ceremonies of the new range, it became very obvious why it was needed. With spectators and dignitaries in attendance, several veteran captains proudly lined up on the firing line and, upon command, blasted away. When the smoke cleared, one captain had missed the target completely, while a second captain turned red-faced as his bullet literally fell from the end of his gun. It was later discovered that he had not changed ammo in his entire 15-year career. A few years later, the new chief, James E. Davis, made great use of the range. He and members of his newly formed shooting team founded the Los Angeles Police Revolver and Athletic Club. The motto, which still exists, was to encourage officers to develop their physical fitness and marksmanship skills. Members of the newly formed pistol team were destined to become some of the best pistol shooters in the country. Joe Dirks was the captain of the shooting team for 13 years. The son of a Colorado homesteader, Joe used to break broncos and applied these skills as a member of the 1920s horse detail. His lean and hard appearance were still in evidence 3 months before his death.
I first met Davis when I was up shooting one day, and I knew who he was, but I had never talked with him. And he came up to me and said, you shoot so well, why don't you try out for the pistol team? And I said, well, I did try out for the pistol team, and I made the pistol team. And then, of course, I would do exhibition because I could throw stuff in the air and hit them, things like that.
June Davis, the daughter of Chief James E. Davis, grew up at the pistol range and thought of it as her playground.
Then we little children, if we were really, really good, we could sit down there and we could stick our tongues out and we could lick the black and white little tabs that they would paste on the holes in the target. Then they'd pull up the target, up it would go, and the shooting would continue.
When not winning pistol matches, the team loved putting on public exhibitions, shooting cigarettes out of people's mouths using live ammunition. This was no stunt. One mistake by the LAPD marksman and the target holder would be dead.
Exhibition shooting is which we called it. And Father would see to it that these men, well, they were so good and perfectly fearless, and they just knew how to shoot. It was just as easy as you eating. Now, this exhibition started with chalk in the mouth and chalk in the hands. You'd put the chalk and they'd shoot the chalk. Now, one of the secrets of that is to keep your hands folded. Don't put your fingers out like that and do it. Now, I held for them too. And they'd shoot the chalk out of my ears and out of the mouth. And we had apples on our heads. They'd shoot the apple off the head. Now, these men were so good that they didn't have to just straightforward doing that shooting. They could do the shooting with a mirror here and shoot backwards, looking in the mirror.
So now you're a part of that history.
Yes.
How does that feel?
It's outstanding. Great set of officers who strive to be the best, who have that competitive drive, while it's also teaching them a discipline. And where this discipline is so intricate in police work is the psychological part of the actual competition. The pressure involved, the time constraints, and getting accurate shots, being able to judge shoot and no shoot targets. All that's integrated into that, which directly relates to police work, which makes them a better officer.
Let's go back to some of the shooting scenarios we saw. Think back to the very first one where you had Tony shooting. Give me kind of a play-by-play of what was he feeling, what was he going through, what was going through his mind, his heart rate, all those kinds of things.
It all elevates. Once you load that weapon, you're standing at that line, you're looking at your range, and you really can't see the stuff till it pops up. As soon as that horn goes off, it's basically all business. Okay, what I have to do is get my weapon out, present it, look for the targets, make sure it's a threat that I'm supposed to shoot, engage that target accordingly with 2 or 3 rounds, whatever the course would dictate, and then find the next target and do the same. In that whole time frame, also thinking about ammunition management, reloads. Is this target designed to do a body shot? Sometimes you have to do body shots or just headshots. All that is on the fly under time constraints and shooting.
And how much time usually do you have?
Sometimes the courses actually have a cap, but generally the person that is the most accurate as well as the fastest is going to win that stage or that event. And that does that consistently is the main factor to winning the whole entire event.
And how far away are you from the targets?
They can range anywhere from literally 3 yards to 50 yards. We've seen targets, big targets such as this steel placed out at 50 yards, and then stuff generally placed around the other side of this wall that you have to engage.
And you're moving the whole time?
Generally you're moving, and you can also be in some type of vehicle or conveyance. We have fake helicopters out there, trucks, vans, and you're generally always moving, yes, because it's going from one part of the course to the other part.
Forwards, backwards?
Forwards and backwards.
Sideways?
Left, right, and now it's always pistol. Even though we shot pistol today, a lot of the stuff we do is call them multi-gun or 3-gun championships, or dealing with multiple different disciplines. I'm going for my pistol on here, then I have to transition to my shotgun, or maybe even at the end of it, I'm ending up on my rifle doing targets as far as over 500 yards. Our shotgun, or correction, our rifle work is done anywhere from 3 yards as well, or out to 500 yards. We have to be proficient at. So it's quite demanding.
How do you train to be proficient on all of that and be proficient year after year?
That is what makes the action pistol team so unique. It's not one pistol discipline, but you have a lot of time to spend on one discipline, just training and training and training. You have to constantly work on one and then switch to the shotgun, and then work on that and then switch to the rifle. And it takes a good couple days a week of time on your own, going out to a range and just practicing and working on the movement and the psychological part of thinking through a stage and how I'm actually going to do this stage.
How does all of this translate to your job as a tactics instructor, as a firearms instructor, and actually working with, you know, the new recruits that are coming through and working with the people who are continually qualifying to make sure they're maintaining their skills?
You're kind of hitting it, maintaining their skills. We qualify every other month, which is actually most than what other departments do. Some departments only qualify once or twice a year. So we're head and shoulders above this whole U.S. as a police department, both in our hits and in our qualifications and things that we do. But to continue that, to take it one step further, it has to be done on our own. And the thing that we try to convey as trainers is you need to go outside. Here's something that I do outside of the department on our own, which is a proven statistical fact that shooting these type, whether it's IPSC or IDPA or USPSA championships or events or local stuff, deals directly in police work with the ability to shoot under pressure and most of all continue to think under those circumstances, which are very high pressure situations. Whether you're shooting at paper or not, it's still training or realistic in your mind, and that is so critical to officers' missions today.
Why is it so critical?
To do that effectively, to do the job correctly, to be able to identify threats. Columbine shooting. My threats were children or kids. The civilians that were there were also children or kids. To me, to go into something like that, it's a constant thinking environment. Where are all the individuals I have to neutralize or stop? Where are the good people? And they all look the same. They're all kids in one environment. And part of that is being able to constantly think and make critical judgments in a split decision, which can affect somebody else's life, my life, the public, and so forth.
What does it feel like to be a champion in that respect, as far as being able to represent the department and to say that, yeah, we have a pistol team, but we're not only good, we've been recognized as the best?
It is a very proud, it's carrying on the tradition of this department. When we go to things and win things, we win things as a department. Even though we're sometimes individual shooting in these matches, we're not always a team event, we always represent LAPD. And we have quite a very proud and a clean name. And what I mean by that is we go to these competitions, you always don't win. Sometimes you do something wrong and you walk away, but we've always taken the time to thank the people that have run it, other competitors. We're always friendly and we're always trying to promote the department. And that goes a long way with recruitment and just so many facets. They look up to this department, but there's also a lot of pressure on your shoulders to constantly perform at a certain level. And that takes practice and commitment, and that's what it's all about.
In the city of Los Angeles, when duty calls, the LAPD responds.
Hey, John, lower the gun, buddy. John, leave the gun.
Working as a team.
Go ahead and put the gun down. John, nobody's going to come at you, all right? But I'd feel a whole lot better if you were to lower that gun.
To protect and to serve.
Why don't you come back here to me, all right? All right, that's good. Walk toward me with your hands up, John. Put you in handcuffs.
All units, code 4 suspect.
Thanks for working with me.
299, show me code 6 on the auto search for the Amber Alert.
To fight crime and to keep our streets safe.
Another positive hit on this bag. We believe at this time that the vehicle is in our custody.
Any available unit to respond to the northeast corner, 7th and Gordon for the Amber Alert.
6K 253 code 3.
14X11, show us responding.
Cycle 2, we're en route.
This is it.
Let's go.
For the officers of the LAPD, it's all in a day's work. Protecting our families.
Look at your daddy.
They take pride in what they do.
Code from the Amber Alert. Missing child found and returned to parent. Suspect in custody.
LAPD is hiring. Become a part of the team. Visit us at joinlapd.com.
We started the team about 1996, and I've been shooting on and off with them, not as active in recent years, but pretty active through about the year 2003 or so.
What is it about the idea of competitive shooting that you like and that made you even wanted to get this started 10 years ago?
Well, being that the use of firearms is such an integral part of being a police officer, I wanted to hone my skills and be as proficient as possible with the firearms. So that drove me to see what venues there were to perfect those skills, and myself and some other individuals at the firearms training unit decided that we should get out and explore what types of competition was available, and we found action pistol, the what's called IPSC, and it's competition shooting that we thought directly related to some of the types of scenarios a police officer might encounter. It might make us better firearms instructors as well as more proficient with our firearms.
So what are the competitions like?
They're usually field courses, meaning you have targets in an array. You never really see two of the same types of courses at any different match. They're pretty original. Each course is set up and you're basically shooting against time. You try to make it through the course as efficiently, as accurately as possible, and with using as little time as possible.
Are they pretty elaborate, these whole setups?
They can be. They can be. You can have one individual stage where as many as 40 rounds are required to be fired. So that requires a lot of shooting on the move skills. It requires your reloading ability with your pistol to be, very precise and efficient with your reloading, as well as your marksmanship abilities. You don't want to miss targets. You get penalized for your misses.
How much practice do you have to do before a competition to be that proficient and to actually be competitive to the point where you might actually win a competition?
That takes quite an investment in time and effort. It's time away from the family. You want to dedicate at least maybe one day a weekend to go out and hit a match, get your skills honed up, and I would say probably a lead time of about 2 months just to get back in the speed of things, to get where you're going to be competitive.
And how competitive has the LAPD team been in the last 10 years?
We've been honored to be very competitive, Mary. Thank you. We've won the state championship, I believe it was 6 consecutive times in a row. We won the world championship of 3-gun shooting, where your disciplines of pistol, shotgun, and rifle are all challenged in the same match. We were the 5-time consecutive world champion holders of that match as well. So we've been very competitive, and we've represented the department very well, I believe, in our tenure here shooting. And we have a lot of individuals that are picking up and carrying on where we've left off a little bit due to our jobs requiring more work and time. We've got some younger individuals in the department that are showing a lot of interest and doing very well. And then matter of fact, just last year, one of our competitive shooters won the state title outright as an individual shooter. Our team didn't quite fare as well, but he ended up winning the state championship in the action pistol event for the California Police Summer Games.
Why do you think this is such a big sport in America? Because it really is, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I personally, in my opinion, I believe it's part of American culture. Firearms are an integral part of why we're here in America and why we have our country. We fought in this country. Firearms are a very important tool in that fight, and to this day, firearms remain part of Americana, I believe.
But as a police officer, using that deadly force and being the person who has the right to use that, you treat that with great respect, don't you?
Yes, ma'am. There's probably nothing else you can do on this job where you're going to be scrutinized more heavily and be held accountable for each and every round that you fire and how and when you use deadly force. So if that situation should unfortunately arrive in a police officer's career, I would think you'd want to be as precise and accurate and as confident with that firearm as you possibly can. That's why a lot of us put that time into practicing so much with our firearms.
Everyone always asks me, why would a small town girl from Michigan move to Los Angeles? I tell them to join the LAPD. I'm Officer Julie Brown. The LAPD has over 200 different careers to choose from. In a career, you can work K-9, the air unit, patrol, and internet crime, helping protect our children from predators. The first time I arrested a rape suspect and he was convicted, I knew I made a difference. Let's protect and serve together. Wear the badge.
Okay, so you guys train for this, but what about taking somebody like me who's not shot a lot? Do you think you could teach me a few things?
Absolutely, no problem.
All right, let's see what you can do with this novice. Right.
Hits are critical. Can't do anything without hits, so whatever it takes to get those hits.
Hits.
If you have to close your left eye and get a good shot, that's fine.
Wow, just a little bit of instruction.
See?
Amazing.
Keep shooting, Mary.
Try to go a little bit faster, but keep focus on the sights. Don't worry about the plates falling. Keep it, work it. Now, generally what we teach is you hit and you come up and you're going to come right back down, and if it's gone, we move on to the next plate or threat. And that works with police officers as well. I want to continue to if I need to shoot at my threat, shoot at it till that threat stops. What I don't want them to do is just fire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds and then just simply move on without checking to see if the threat's no longer a threat.
Ah.
And then what you do to practice, you slowly pick up that speed. Just you start to miss, and then slow back down a little bit, and then you pick it back up, and you slow back down.
Okay. So how fast am I shooting? Am I like really slow?
You're going pretty good. There's 3 key things to shooting.
Okay.
Sight alignment, the trigger press, and the actual grip of the weapon. And they all really work in conjunction.
Okay.
I have to have my sights aligned to hit something downrange. To shoot faster, as well as accurate, it has to do with the reset. And what the actual reset is, which I'll show you here in just a second. The actual reset is when I press the actual trigger and the weapon fires. When it comes up, you hear that click? Mm-hmm. That's the reset. Now watch my finger. There's about an inch of over travel there.
Right.
So what they want you to do is hold back and then come back just for that reset, and then that's where you shoot again. Not go like this.
Because that...
The extra travel is time, and when you start pressing coming back, you're not pressing on anything. So that what the body has a tendency to do is once it hits resistance, you press harder, and that's going to cause the shot to fall. So that's one of the things we actually teach officers here is to work on a reset. And that's just coming slightly off the trigger till you feel that and hear that, and then you're going to start the second press from that point.
Okay.
The other grip, as you see with this weapon, and this is about 80% recoil of a real weapon, you have to kind of fight that. And the way to fight that is simply by tightening your grip up and bearing down on the weapon, and that will also allow you to shoot more accurately and at a quicker speed.
Tightening your grip up?
Yeah, I'm going to hold on to this gun, not initially when I'm standing right here, I'm nice and relaxed, but as my weapon's presented, I actually grip the gun and I'm squeezing it pretty tight right here so that when I fire this gun, that muzzle's just barely flipping. The more flip you have, the more it takes to realign your sights, right?
Right. Okay. So there's that, and like that.
And which you're doing a good job. See how there's a little gap right there?
Right.
Can you bring your hand a little higher without affecting your trigger? Good. The lower that you grab on the weapon system here, the more induced recoil because of the fulcrum. I'm bringing it up, and now the pivoting point is going to be higher.
Okay.
So good.
And I feel the...
Now, this is how you actually work on your reset. I want you to go ahead and pull the trigger back and hold it for a second. Ease it up. Do you feel the click? Now, hold it. Ease up. Click. Hold it. Ease up.
Wow. You have to do a lot of grip stuff to make your grip stronger. I can tell that already.
And they're not exactly light. That's really about with what's inside there, about what the weapon weighs.
Okay.
You know, a good couple pounds. They're all loaded up, and that it works, especially if you're up here for some time. It does get heavy.
Heavy, yeah, it does. All right, should we give this a try?
Okay. So front sight, rear sight.
Looking through, and I can kind of squint that one eye, right?
Yes, ma'am. Sight alignment.
Do you have to do this in competition?
We shoot plate racks. Usually it's 6 plates. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Wow.
The silhouettes out there.
Oh, that's what I got to shoot.
Same principles. Go ahead and shoot a silhouette and it'll just fall over. There you go. Now slow down for the back ones. There you go.
Yeah, the guy in the back.
Now, you see how she's shooting a little bit high? Because what is she doing? She's looking at down there to see if farther targets will be shot at a slower pace than closer targets.
Yeah, the close guys are...
Slow down for this one. Slow down for that one back there. Slow down for the one on the left. Very, very, very good.
Okay, that one's driving me crazy. How am I doing?
You're doing good. Very good. Outstanding. You're learning one of the hardest things there are to learn, and that is being able to shoot at different speeds at different distances.
Right.
Our sport ranges from 3 yards to 50 yards, and when they do it intentionally. They put a lot of stuff up close on one target, and you have to calm yourself and settle to shoot that farther target, and then come right back and then be able to shoot stuff at a much quicker pace. And that is a very difficult, it's a discipline to learn to do that. Okay, stop. Here we go, long shot, breathe in. And the breathing is critical. And why is breathing critical? Because one of the first things you lose when you hold your breath is your ability to focus. Eyes are small vascular.
Aha.
Okay, and you're not oxygenating your eyes, and that's why it gets more difficult. So I always tell people breathe, and everybody does it. You saw in our range, they go through those doors. Oh God, how did I do? I did real good. Now just do me a favor. Next time, take a nice deep breath before you do something, or when you go through that door. And that's how our sport is really critical to police work. It really hones a lot of the small, intricate details that are very street-oriented out there. A simple thing, learning to breathe. That could be with anything. It doesn't have to be with firearms. It could be with handling a call, being able to keep your cool and do things like that. And if you could just learn those inner traits to slow yourself down at times, which is very, very difficult, you'll succeed in many other things besides shooting in and of itself.
So as you can see, it takes a lot of practice, a lot of focus, a lot of skill to be a member of the LAPD's competitive pistol team. I hope you've enjoyed watching them practice and seeing what they do and what it takes to be a member of the team. I'm Mary Grady. Please join us again for another Athletes Inside the LAPD.